Servus aus Berlin. Hi, my name is Matthias Rillig, and today I'll talk to you how to write a review of a paper for a journal. Now, this is just about the general attitude to take. Of course, I cannot go into great detail in a short video about the contents and how you should structure it and all that, but it's just to give you some basic ideas on how to write a productive and friendly and useful constructive review. There are several points. So the first point is stick to your expertise. So if you're asked to review a paper and you agree to review it, and in the end you discover, for example, there is a statistical technique or some specific molecular technique or a bioinformatics pipeline that you're not quite familiar with, but you can still comment in general on the paper and other aspects of it, make that clear. So make that clear in a comment to the editor. I sometimes do, I write, I cannot comment on this particular part, but if you still want me to comment on this, I can. Or you can also write it in your review, or you can write it in a separate comment to the editor, because you always have the opportunity to write separate comments to the editor, and that will not be seen by the author. That is much preferable to writing low quality comments that basically out you as clueless on a particular topic in the actual review. So stick to your expertise, say this is the part I can comment on and I will, and you can say I'm less familiar about this. And if you want to give a general impression, fine, but don't put in low quality comments about something that's outside of your area of expertise. Be quite upfront with what is your area of expertise. Now, as you read the paper a few times, I guess there is a first decision in your mind whether you think this is worthwhile or is not worthwhile. Well, it's not your decision to reject or accept or ask for revisions for a paper. That's the decision of the editor. This is still something that you have in your mind. And so if you think there is a fatal flaw in this paper, you should say it clearly, still be friendly about it, but you should be quite firm in saying that this particular method cannot be used to make this point, or whatever the case may be. Be quite clear in saying it. There's no sense in sugarcoating it. Still be nice about it. Say it in a constructive way. Don't insult of course, the authors of this paper, but just make your point in a matter-of-factly professional way. Now, if you think that there are some problems with this paper, but if those are fixed, it would actually be very nice, then the attitude in which to write this review should be, how can this be improved? And so every comment that you make ideally helps the authors improve the paper and helps the editor see how the paper could be improved if the authors followed your recommendation. Another general advice, I usually do this, even if I think the paper is not very good, I always start with saying something positive. So it's basically a little bit of empathy. You know, the authors put a lot of work into this, so sometimes it's years of work. And then when they get reviews that are just bam, list the terrible mistakes that have been made, it can have quite a negative effect on people. So I think it's good to show a little empathy, and even if you think the paper is off the mark, in your opinion anyway, then still start with saying something positive, like this is an important topic, or this is an important question to ask, or you realize this has been a lot of work and this is an impressive effort, or something like this. Just say something positive at first. I think this is generally good practice to, some reviewers also quickly summarize what the paper is about, and in doing so you can add what's actually positive about the paper before you then go in listing your criticisms. Now, also be specific in your recommendations. So I think it's not so useful to say, well, the discussion is too long and should be shortened. You know, maybe say something like this aspect of the discussion really is maybe too speculative and could maybe be removed, or, you know, maybe this figure can go to the supplementary materials or something. So just be specific in your recommendations as much as possible, so authors know how to improve the paper. At the same time, be specific in your recommendations, but don't make an attempt to rewrite the paper for the authors. I think at least this is something I don't like to do, so don't be like completely pervasive in your criticism on every aspect of the paper to make it like you would have written it. I mean, it was written by somebody else. It is super unlikely that somebody else would see something the same way you do. So I guess resist the urge to rewrite the paper for the authors. As I said, start with something positive. It's also good to, in between, when you really liked something, to say it. I mean, the effect is actually astonishing. I mean, when I get reviews back and a reviewer took the time of saying, this is a really cool point, or this is really nicely done, or this figure is really cool looking, or I found this part very helpful, it just has a magical effect. So remember that, while you send this in some online manuscript processing system, in the end, it will be seen by people. And I think having these comments about not just a list of criticisms, but also in between saying like you really liked something, it can have a really good effect on the recipient of your review. So take the time to every once in a while, if you feel like this is something positive, then, and also say it. I think a lot of people really don't do that. And I think it would be nicer if more people took the time to also say something positive. And of course, and one shouldn't really have to say that, it's like stay polite, stay professional. I mean, we sometimes get reviews that are unacceptable, let's say, in the way things are being worded, going almost towards personal attacks, or voicing their deep disappointment at something. That's inappropriate, so keep that language out. Also, editors sometimes do take that language out. I mean, if I find something in a review that I find unprofessional, as an editor, I remove this. And remember that while you are anonymous, of course, to the authors, and this is good, you're not anonymous to everybody. For example, you're not anonymous to the editor. The editor knows who you are. And if you write unprofessional comments like this, it certainly does not reflect positively on you. And so, yeah, I mean, everybody is human. I mean, things slip sometimes, or you're in a bad mood, or you've had a grant proposal rejected or a paper rejected, and you're in a bad mood. But try to keep it as much as possible really out of your review. Use a neutral, professional, constructive language. And I mean, I remember when I wrote my first reviews, it just takes time. It takes time to become better. By no means is anybody perfect, of course, but you can get better. You can work at finding your tone. Right? I mean, you can come across as too harsh, or you can come across as like you love everything. And so, I mean, it takes time to sort of find your language in these reviews. And it might be a good idea to take some journals up on the offers to co-review, for example. This is possible, so you can ask for permission. For example, if you're a PI, to share a review with a postdoc who might have also specific expertise. So, I mean, take these opportunities to practice how to become a useful reviewer. I mean, peer reviews is essential for the operation of science and publications, and it is not easy. It takes a lot of time. It's hard to do it right. But I think keeping some of these points in mind and always remembering there's another human being at the receiving end of your comments, I think it definitely helps make this better for everybody. Hi there! If you like this video, don't forget to click like down there, and also remember to subscribe. to the channel and feel free to leave comments. See ya!